Welcome back, guys. Today, we will be talking about the dark side of probation nobody warns you about. Let's go. A probation officer knocks on your door at 6:12 in the morning. You're half asleep. They step inside almost immediately. Then a police officer behind them starts looking around your living room. Whose phone is that? Why are there two backpacks by the couch? Mind if we take a look in your bedroom? Now your heart starts racing because you thought probation meant avoiding jail. Nobody told you it could also mean surprise searches, strict travel limits, random drug tests, and conversations designed to trap you into violating your own conditions. So what do? Can they legally search your house? Do you have to answer every question? And what's the biggest mistake people on probation make without realizing it? Most people think probation is freedom with rules, but in reality, probation is often a legal minefield. One wrong answer, one emotional reaction, one careless admission, and suddenly you're facing a probation violation hearing that can put you right back in custody. And here's the dangerous part. A lot of probation violations don't come from new crimes. They come from technical mistakes, missed appointments, unauthorized travel, failed drug tests. One piece of knowledge can change how a situation ends for you. Subscribe now so you're prepared. Then share this video and tell me what you think about it in the comments. Associating with prohibited people, or talking too much during surprise encounters with police or probation officers. In this video, we're going to break down the dark side of probation nobody warns you about. You'll learn what officers are actually looking for during these encounters, the biggest traps people fall into, the exact phrases that can protect you, and how to avoid turning a small situation into a major violation. Because when you're on probation, your rights may already be limited, and if you don't understand where those limits are, you can accidentally make your situation far worse. The first thing nobody explains clearly is this. Probation changes your privacy rights. A lot. Many probation agreements include search conditions. That means probation officers, and sometimes police working with them, may be allowed to search your home, vehicle, or belongings without the normal warrant requirements that apply to other people. And this is where people make their first huge mistake. They start physically blocking officers. They argue at the doorway. They try to hide things. Or they say something like, "You can't come in without a warrant." In some situations, that may not be true anymore if your probation terms include search waivers, and escalating physically almost never helps you. Instead, the safer approach is staying calm and making your non-consent clear without interfering. A better phrase is, "Officer, I am not resisting, but I do not consent to any searches beyond what my probation conditions allow." That wording matters a lot. You're not physically obstructing them, you're not escalating, but you are also not giving broad voluntary consent beyond your legal obligations. That can become very important later if questions come up about the scope of the search, because many people accidentally give officers more authority than they already had. Watch how fast this happens. Mind if we check your car too? Sure, I guess. That single sentence can expand the situation dramatically. Probation already limits some protections. Don't voluntarily remove the rest. The second dark side of probation is that officers often pay attention to your behavior as much as your actual violations. People think probation is only about whether you broke a law. Not always. Officers are constantly evaluating attitude, compliance, honesty, and consistency, and that leads to another major trap, talking too much. A probation officer asks, "Have you been around anybody using drugs lately?" Now the person starts rambling. "Well, not really. I mean, my cousin smokes sometimes, but I wasn't really involved, and technically I left before." Stop. That's how people talk themselves into violations. Long explanations create inconsistencies, and inconsistencies create suspicion. Instead, stay calm and answer narrowly when required. And if police questioning starts drifting toward possible criminal activity, remember this. Probation does not erase your Fifth Amendment protections entirely. In many situations, you still have the right to avoid self-incrimination. A calm phrase may sound like this: I want to comply with my probation conditions, but I would like to speak to a lawyer before answering questions about possible criminal conduct. That sentence is powerful because it does two things at once. First, it shows you are not becoming combative. Second, it clearly invokes legal protection before making damaging statements. A lot of people panic and think silence automatically makes them look guilty, but uncontrolled talking is often what creates the real problem. The third thing nobody warns you about is how small technical violations can spiral fast. You miss one check-in, your phone dies, you fail to update your address immediately, you show up late to a required class. You think it's minor. Your probation officer may see it differently. Probation systems are heavily document-based. Patterns matter, reliability matters, and excuses that sound reasonable to you may sound repetitive to someone supervising dozens or hundreds of cases. That's why emotional roadside arguments are dangerous. Imagine this scenario. An officer pulls someone over at night. "Why are you out this late?" The driver gets defensive immediately. "I'm allowed to drive. You people always harass me because I'm on probation." Now the encounter changes tone instantly. The safer approach is controlled communication. Keep movements slow, hands visible, no sudden reaching, and avoid turning the stop into a debate about fairness. A better response might be, "Officer, I want to comply. My license and registration are in my wallet. May I reach for them?" Simple, calm, professional. That matters more than people realize. Officers often interpret emotional behavior as potential non-compliance or risk escalation. And once tension rises, small issues can snowball quickly. The fourth dark side of probation is association restrictions. This catches people constantly. Some probation terms prohibit contact with certain people: gangs, co-defendants, drug users, or convicted felons. And many people violate these conditions casually without thinking about it. You ride in the wrong car, attend the wrong party, stay overnight at the wrong apartment. Then police arrive. Now everyone gets questioned. This is where silence becomes critical because many people start volunteering information trying to explain everything. Instead, focus on identifying yourself if required and staying controlled. If questioning intensifies, a safer phrase may be, "I exercise my right to remain silent, and I want a lawyer present before answering further questions." Again, the wording matters. You are not resisting. You are not arguing. You are clearly invoking constitutional protections. And here's another important point people misunderstand. Remaining silent does not mean becoming rude. It does not mean insulting officers. It does not mean refusing lawful commands. You can stay respectful while still protecting yourself legally. That balance is extremely important on probation. The fifth thing nobody warns you about is how consent traps work during home visits and police encounters. Officers often ask questions casually. "Mind if we take a quick look? You don't have anything illegal in there, right? Can you unlock your phone for us?" People feel pressured to cooperate because they're on probation, but voluntary consent can create major legal complications. And once consent is given, it becomes much harder to challenge the search later. That doesn't mean you should physically resist. Never do that. But calm verbal boundaries matter. For example, "I want to comply with lawful orders, but I do not consent to searches beyond my probation requirements." Or, "I do not consent to unlocking my phone without speaking to a lawyer." Now, whether officers can legally search specific devices or property depends heavily on state law, probation terms, court rulings, and the exact facts of the situation. That's why you should never assume something is automatically legal or illegal in every case. Probation law varies widely, but one thing stays consistent. Giving extra consent rarely helps you. And trying to argue complex constitutional law during the encounter usually makes things worse. The roadside is not the courtroom. Your goal is not to win the argument in that moment. Your goal is to avoid making the situation more damaging. That means no sudden movements, no aggressive body language, no reaching unexpectedly, no sarcastic comments, no attempts to physically stop searches, and definitely no lying. A lot of people think small lies will protect them. Instead, lies often become separate violations or evidence of non-compliance. If you do not want to answer something, invoking your rights calmly is usually safer than inventing stories. And there's another hidden danger here: social media. Many probation conditions restrict firearms, drugs, travel, gang associations, or criminal activity. People post photos online without thinking. Then, probation officers see them. Even jokes, live streams, tagged photos, or appearing around prohibited people can create serious problems. Probation supervision today isn't just in person, it's digital too. So here's the safest framework to remember if you're on probation and dealing with police or probation officers. Stay calm. Keep your hands visible. Comply with lawful commands. Do not physically resist. Do not volunteer unnecessary information. Do not consent to extra searches beyond what is legally required. Ask clear questions when necessary. And if questioning turns toward criminal accusations, say, "I want to remain silent and speak to a lawyer." Most importantly, understand your actual probation conditions. Read them carefully, because the biggest danger on probation is often not what people intentionally do. It's what they never realize they agreed to. And in the next video, we're breaking down the 5 most common phrases police use during traffic stops to get drivers to waive their rights without realizing it. Thanks for watching till the end. See you in the next video.